Hi, welcome to Charlie's Garage. Today what we're going to talk about is brake fluid. And I know that on a lot of my videos I'm talking about heavy duty trucks, and most of the time we're dealing with air brakes, and I've done videos in the past with air compressors and stuff, but there are a lot of heavy duty trucks, class 5, 6, even some, I think some 7 trucks that might have hydraulic brakes. So even a heavy equipment mechanic who deals mostly with air brakes might still need to have a working understanding of how hydraulic brakes work. And so this video is just going to be about brake fluid basics. So brake fluid is basically comes in different types of .3, .4, .5, .5.1. And really the big differences between all these are the chemical makeup of them, right? So you have a glycol setup all the way up to the 5.1s, which use a silicone setup. And the boiling points differ from type to type. So the brake fluid is responsible for some major things. Number one thing is the obvious one, right? Is that it transmits force. When you step on the master cylinder, you push against fluid, that fluid goes to the calipers and pushes on the brake shoes and pushes them against the rotor, right? And so that's the number one thing it does, is it transmits the pressure to apply the brakes. While it does that, it also helps to cool things down, carries heat away, it lubricates components in that system. But the main point of this video is the thing that it does is that it absorbs moisture, right? So when we talk about absorbing moisture, what we mean is that when you have condensation and other things that get into the brake fluid, that water gets in there and it affects the way the brake fluid operates. So what we have to worry about is when you start to get water in the brake fluid, what that does is it reduces or lowers the boiling point of the brake fluid. So I wrote down a couple of key numbers here for us of the difference between .3 and .5 and what the boiling points are on those. And when you look at a brake fluid specification, you're going to have a dry boiling point and a wet boiling point. And a dry boiling point is what it should take for the brake fluid to boil straight out of the bottle with no outside moisture being introduced to it yet. The wet boiling point is based on a 3.7% absorption of water. So up to 3.7% of the brake fluid being moisture that it's absorbed. So the brake fluid wants to absorb that moisture so that moisture doesn't cause corrosion and other issues in the system. But the negative of that is the fact that it affects the boiling point of the actual brake fluid. You can get to temperatures, between 400 and 500 degrees at your calipers. So that means that brake fluid obviously can't boil at your normal, 212 degrees. It needs to be able to get much hotter than that. Otherwise it would boil, and that would cause some serious issues in the brake system, right? And normal boiling point for dry boiling point for .3 is around 401 degrees. So that's pretty hot, right? It can get pretty hot before it starts to boil. But when it absorbs that 3.7% of moisture, that can drop all the way down to 284 degrees, right? So you can see what a drastic difference just a 3.7% absorption of water can do to that boiling point for the .3. So 401 dry, 284 wet. The .5 is 500 degrees Fahrenheit dry and 356 degrees Fahrenheit wet. So the .5 is able to still get pretty hot even with some moisture in it. So a lot of times you might be working on a car or a truck that has spongy, inefficient braking and it's not stopping very well. And what happens is that you might think, oh, well, I got air in the line. So you bleed it a lot and you still get that spongy feel to it. It's not feeling right. You got to keep in mind that it could be moisture content in the brake fluid, because what happens is something called evaporation. I don't know if evaporation is really the right word. Vaporization, I think, is the better word to use with this. So when the water gets into that brake fluid, it allows it to actually vaporize. And when it vaporizes, that's what allows compression of the fluid. And that's what gives you that spongy feel and that inefficient braking. So one of the ways that you can tell, and my friends at TESMEN are the ones that inspired this video by sending me this tool. And this is a very cool tool to use, and they're very affordable. but they're moisture detectors for brake fluid. So for example, for this one, I have some brake fluid in a container where I put a little bit of brake fluid in one and a little bit in one that has water in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some brake fluid right here in this guy. And this is pure brake fluid. And we're going to test the brake fluid by itself. So the TESMEN indicator right here, and I will put a link to this product in there just so you guys know where I got it, because these guys are really cool about sending it to me. You just turn it on, and then once you turn it on, it has features for picking what kind of brake fluid you have. And I know it's hard to see, but I can choose between .3, .4, .5. Excuse me. So right now I've got it selected for .3. We're going to just go ahead, and this is a flexible tip. So I'm going to adjust this so that you guys can see the readout. Put it in here. So it's telling me 2.5%, 2.2 to 2.5%. You'll notice it was flashing in the green, which means that the absorption is still within specification for what it's allowed to have, right? So now we're going to replace this one, and we'll clean the tip off real well, which you should always do when you use a tool like this. Use a shop towel, lint-free cloth, clean it up real well before you stow it away or before you use it on another sample. So now I've got the one that I introduced, got a little bottle of water, put a little cap full of water in there. So it's the same little size of a container, the bottom of a styrofoam cup with a cap full of water added to the brake fluid. So when I do the same thing with this one though, I should see a very different result, because that cap full fluid is a pretty high percentage for as little brake fluid that's in this. Okay, and I can see right now it's reading red, and it says out of limits. So this will automatically tell you when you've gone above your maximum allowable water absorption. So this is a very quick and easy way to see, hey, I can bleed this thing to death and it's not going to make a difference. I need to flush and change my brake fluid. So this is a tool that if you're going to be doing a hydraulic brake work, TESMEN makes these in a lot of different types and models. You go to their Amazon page, TESMEN, TESMEN. They make a lot of these. So you can get a version like this one, which is really affordable and can do almost all the testing you're really going to need to do. And then you can also use test strips that will tell you some things, but they're not quite as neat and accurate as this guy is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit about brake fluid, one of the ways that we can test the brake fluid. If you have any questions about brake fluid, brakes in general, or this test equipment, please let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and please support our friends that send us tools to make videos about. Thank you.